Ni hao. This is a question from a Bilibili follower. I learned the Chinese saying not to be elated by external gains nor saddened by personal losses. What do you think is the importance of emotions for human beings? How do you see the role of emotions in the development of an individual's character and in the broader progress of human society? I like that saying, not to be elated by external gains nor saddened by personal losses. I like it because it shows the fortitude and the sense of endurance and resilience of the Chinese. It's one that sits beside almost my favourite Chinese saying, every obstacle is an opportunity, which is similar. But there is a downside to this saying, not to be elated by external gains nor saddened by personal losses. You shouldn't take that to extremes. In other words, if you have personal successes, you should be elated by them. You should rejoice in them and be happy about them. Perhaps the secret is to be happy in yourself, elated, and share it with people who you know you can share excitements and successes with without them being jealous or competitive. But you shouldn't go around bragging, boasting, or pressing it down people's throats who feel it as a threat. So you have to deal with it calmly, but feel the emotion of happiness. And in the case of losses, you should feel sad. For example, when dear friends or close family die, you shouldn't try and overcome that by not feeling the loss. You feel the sadness, you let it penetrate yourself, but you don't let it destroy you or go too deep. You, in my case, I deal with deep losses of friendship and family by mourning, but trying to set the sadness into a wider context. I set it against the terrible tragedies that other people suffer. For example, the newly elected leader of Iran, the new Ayatollah, we're told in the recent bomb that destroyed his father, previous Ayatollah, it also killed his mother, his wife, his sister, his son. Now, compared to that, and perhaps disfigured him as well, compared to that, whatever losses I feel is to be put in perspective. And likewise, when I watch daily on terrible news of the genocide in Gaza or whatever, I see losses far worse than mine. So put it into a perspective. And also I usually do some small sort of ritual acknowledgement. For example, I will, if it's a close person, I will plant a little flower or a tree, or lay a little wreath somewhere, or make some outward gesture, and then calmly accept the loss and the sadness. So to move to the question, we are emotional creatures. That is what human beings are. We're filled with emotions, and emotions therefore define our character, and we are filled with many different emotions, and we tread a path between the extremes of allowing our emotions to overflow and destroy us and get out of hand, and the opposite, which in, for example, Greek philosophy was known as Stoicism. Stoics were people who were very resistant to allowing any emotions to sway their lives. So we talk about stoical people who just don't show too much emotion. And there is an element of that in British culture, what we call the stiff upper lip. In other words, you are buttoned up when you face a tragedy. And my education was very much to try and encourage that stiff upper lip attitude. I was told that when I was hit and hurt in a game of football, I shouldn't cry. When something really bad happened to me and my family, I should keep my face and my outward appearance as if nothing had happened, even if I was in great sadness in time. I think we, the British upper middle class, took that to a rather an extreme, but you need some stoicism in your life and some resistance to being flooded by emotions you had to control. So ending up, emotions are coursing like water through our lives. We are emotional creatures, but like the great floods of the Yellow River and the Yangtze, we have to build embankments around them to channel them, to make them fruitful by channeling the emotions out into the rice fields so they produce the crops, and not letting them flood our lives or other people's lives. So somewhere in the middle, in the Confucian golden mean, is the way we deal with emotions, which are absolutely central to us as human beings.